Come to order. On pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For some reason, when I do the Pledge of Allegiance like that, I remember back when I was in Korea in the Air Force and inside of an old cigarette factory and in the middle of the winter freezing. It's like just interesting what your memory comes back to.
Couldn't have your charcoal heaters.
Yeah, the charcoal heaters and paint falling off the ceiling like snow. Yeah, it was interesting. But we hid, nobody found us. Okay, Pledge of Allegiance, roll call. We have a quorum and everyone is present today except Mark. Let's see, Mark Manley here. And I will take a motion to approve today's agenda.
That's so moved.
Okay, second. All opposed, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, stick with that. And for the approval of consent agenda, the 8 July minutes I sent to everyone yesterday. Do we have a motion to approve those minutes? Or any corrections?
Motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so carry on with old business and with, Mike, joining us today. We'll add Mike as making a report on the airport engineering and hangar door situation. You want him to speak first or you? Speak first?
Mike, are you good with that? Good to go?
Absolutely. Good morning.
Oh, we got, stop for 1 second if you can. I mean, sorry, didn't mean to say stop. Stand by. I want to, Mr. Mayor and everyone here in attendance, I just want to thank Mike for his participation over the decades and his diligence to just, keep things moving. Mike is kind of one of those guys who was the point man for the airport, for the county, to the state and federals for decades. And I just want to say a word of appreciation to him and acknowledge him in front of everybody before he speaks for all of the hard work that he has done. So I'm sorry to embarrass you, Mike, but I was going to say that anyway. So there you go.
I'll add to that as well. That's great. Thanks for all the work you've done and looking forward to more improvements as we go along.
Well, I thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. So report. So we're working through the award process and getting the documents and everything together on the hangar door. If you remember, county's awarding the hangar door replacement and the canopy over the fuel farm and the fuel containment pad as part of that project to fit into the state grant money. So we're working through that process. So we'll have more upcoming on that. Update on the airfield lighting. Just got off the phone with our construction contractor. The airfield signs, the guidance signs are probably 2 months out, but the runway lights, we're talking 5 months delivery on these. So that puts us kind of in the middle of winter. So what I'm going to do is schedule a meeting with you all, the county and the contractor here in the next couple of weeks, so we can sit down and go over schedule, so we can plan this out. We can get the signs replaced, I think, which is good. But going back in and doing the lights, hopefully we have a winter and you have snow out there. So I don't know that we can get lights replaced while we have that condition. So we need to sit down and get our heads together on that and figure out how we're going to schedule this construction. It'll be fairly anyways. So we're working through that. They've had production problems, I understand. I'm not sure what the whole story is at ADB, the supplier for the lights. The signs will be a company called Limacurve. And there seem to be quicker delivery. So 2 months on the sign. So that puts us October, November timeframe. I think we're still good on that as far as getting those in. So
These lighted signs,
the guidance signs, right?
lighted signs, I mean.
Yes, they are. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, sir. And then the PAPI, I'm not replacing the Plazzi with the PAPI and that work in the vault also. I'm not sure. I'll find out more on that delivery schedule as well. But let me schedule. I'll get with Jeff and we'll coordinate a meeting probably. It's probably not next week, but the week after. It might be a Zoom meeting. Might meet up there at the airport. I don't know. I know Jeff indicated that I think FAA is trying to get out there or something. So maybe we all sit down together and go over things. Okay. Snow removal grant status. I understand from Cy Trujillo with the county that has made it through the budget fray at Congress. I think there's $500,000 in an earmark, if I'm not mistaken on that, that's still in the budget bill. Not sure where that process is, but see what happens there. That's kind of good news.
No kidding.
And
Amazing.
let me speak to that. Mike, the danger, and I'm just gonna be blunt, because I've been told I'm too blunt. The danger is that people need to understand, kind of like the sponsorship change, this could be 2 years out before we see that plow. Yeah, once the bill is signed by the president, we've got to go through the procurement process and get a snowplow built, and we all know by the field truck that took us 2 years to get that field truck built.
Good
And
comment.
so-
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
yeah, and I mean, I'm sorry, I'm really not speaking to you, but to everybody, just so you know, we were gonna announce that at the meeting this evening, and just let the public know that, yes, it's marvelous, wonderful, it's a hoorah, fireworks. However, there's a long time lead on that. So, village manager Weir.
Mr. Chairman, and also even though it's very unlikely and we've worked with our lobbyists to, promote that funding, it could be line item vetoed by the president before the bill is signed. So it's not likely that it will be. It's kind of a small item for for the president to be worried about, but the possibility is still there.
But it's still good news. That means that the county, that the whole ball is still rolling in a positive direction, so.
Excellent. Concerning the lighting, can we go ahead with the wiring, or is wiring and ditching part of that?
Yeah, so we're replacing some circuits. Let me circle back on that, sure. And when I set up the meeting, that'll be on the table. Yeah, and we'll cover all that, I think. Just line this project out. It's crazy. And it's not just Angel Fire Airport and Hobbs, or not Hobbs, but Lovington and Jow. We waited, I think, 6 months for threshold lights. So.
Goodness. Okay. Thank you. Hey, Jeff, you got any other airport status? Thanks for getting that, by the way.
Yeah, no problem. No, I think the next portion, the next portion is really for Patrick Shara, kind of update us on sponsorship changes. And then
Yeah, let's go ahead with Patrick's report and then we'll come back to some airport questions.
okay, well, we can do that now if you want to do.
No, I'd like question Patrick's.
Okay.
Okay, so the sponsorship process is still moving forward. As most everyone is aware, the only thing that is holding us up right now is the approval of the airport layout plan. And there's two sections of that the FAA have been looking to update. One is the ultimate airport layout plan, and the other one is the Exhibit A property map. So let me share. I've been working with Mike and his group to get the base drawings over, and then we updated and brought them up to what they call SOP 2.0 and 3.0 standards. And what those are, let me see if I can share my screen. Let me know if you guys can see me.
Not yet. There you
There we
go.
go.
Okay. So, throughout the years, the FAA has put together a standard operating procedure checklist. It's a very large document that they've used to kind of put everything that's supposed to be on these plans. As you can see, there's a lot of data that goes into these existing layout plans. It goes everywhere from the details of the airport data, runway data, taxiway, the wind analysis for the wind layouts, any existing non-standard conditions, declared distance, proposed facilities, existing facilities. And what this is basically the updated plan that has been completed and is with the county for review. To give you an idea of some of the differences between the two, the next page here is the existing one from, I believe it was 2014. Well, that's not going to work there. Uh-oh. So this was the original one, and you will see, whoops, I'm sorry, that just went to, here we go. So this is the original one, and then just brought up to the new FAA standards, brings us to this. So you'll see that there's a lot of updates that were on here that brought it up, and we think the FAA is going to have a lot of positive things to say about this. So this is the existing one that's under review with the county that will get submitted. And then the second portion of this is the existing Exhibit A. So this is a property document, and it does reference the original warranty deeds. It shows all the mets and bounds of airport-owned property, and then it includes the future property acquisition or easement acquisitions as well. So this has been brought up to SOP 3.0 standards, and here's a comparison of the old map. So hopefully the FAA is going to look at these and see they're brought up to FAA standards. They've got all the boxes checked that need to be checked, and this will go through the approval process rather quickly. It will get approved by Jamie's folks locally, and then when we get the okay from them, it will be uploaded into the FAA's portal, and it'll go into airspace analysis. And once it passes the OEAA, which is obstruction evaluation and airspace analysis, it will come back signed. There's 3 boxes here, so the FAA will sign off on it. DOT will sign off on it, and the county can sign off on it. Once this is a legal document and we're ready to go forward, then we move to the next step of the transfer process. But this is a pretty important one as far as the FAA is concerned. In this sponsored transfer, these documents have to be approved and updated before we can continue. Any questions on those?
Yes, I have a question on the yellow on the right end of that.
Down in here?
Yes.
Yep.
What is that?
So in this area here, this trapezoid is what we call the RPZ, the runway protection zone. And FAA likes to make sure that the airport has full control over an RPZ. And there's certain things that they do not want to see inside an RF or an protection zone. In the case that we have right now, you can see the airport does not control the entire runway protection zone on either end.
Oh,
So the
really?
FAA would like to see that. Now, there's different ways you can do it. You can do a property acquisition of those areas, or you can get an easement in those areas. So there's multiple things that we can do. But at this time, the airport does not control the full area of the runway protection zone.
Will it be required to control that area before we transfer the sponsorship?
It will not be. No, it will not be. This is the legal document that shows current airport property and any airport property that has been released. You don't have any airport property that's been released from federal obligation. This basically is the map that says in the sponsor transfer, this is the area inside these mets and bounds, which is the dark property line. Everything inside there is under federal acquisition. So it's subject to federal grant assurances. It's what we call federally obligated land for aeronautical use at this time. And that's what they're focused on for the sponsor transfer.
Okay. So is that something we should be working on, is getting those easements or whatever?
It is recommended that in the next master plan, that these documents are looked at and updated again with the master plan. The master plan would look at aeronautical use and non-aeronautical use areas. It would also look at the surrounding land and see what the land use is surrounding the airport. It would look at zoning rules and regulations in the community, in the village, and look at areas exactly like this. It would also look at areas where you can see public roads going through the RPZ. It would look at getting some easements and whatnot into there. Um, but it would all be something that would be taken care of, I would recommend, in the next master plan.
Which is due when?
Technically, there's nothing that's due by a certain date. Typically, master plans are done every 10 years, depending on the need. I would say that with the update of these two documents, the actual airport layout plan drawing set is probably about 12 pages, and those documents need to be updated as well. However, the FAA did not require those to be updated for the federal transfer process. They only required the ultimate ALP and the Exhibit A because those are really the two legal documents out of it. The rest of the documents that are included in that drawing set include airspace analysis, inner approach surfaces, land use drawings around the airport, um, terminal area layout plan, things like that, that are really more master plan, current existing with what's required for the future. So the master plan, for those of you who aren't familiar with the master plan process, it looks at existing conditions as they are right now, and then it will go into a forecast period where you're forecasting what your operations are going to be and what the airport is going to have for businesses and whatnot in the short, medium, and long term, usually 5, 10, and 20 years out. And then that is a legal document that gets submitted and approved by the FAA. And that tells you what your critical aircraft is and how we design for future aircraft to make sure that the airport has the ability to meet the demand that it currently has and demand into the future, right? Once you get that approved by the FAA, you move into facility requirements. What are required for the airport to do for capital improvements in the short, medium, and long term to meet the demand that we're showing in the forecast? And then alternatives. We would sit down with you folks here and talk about how we're going to reach those goals and then make a financial plan and update the Exhibit A. And then the Exhibit A is the ALP is then approved, which is basically this sheet and the Exhibit A that I just showed you. You'll notice that there's some drawings on here. During the last master plan, this was what was set up for future development. And in order for the FAA to get on board and have federal funding, the projects should be shown on this approved. You'll see there's a stamp right here for the federal FAA to approve it. Once they approve this document and your projects are shown on here, they're then eligible for federal funding. Another reason why it's good for the master plan to be updated every 10 years or so, and depending on how fast development is moving. Does that answer your question?
Very well, yes. I guess one other question is those public roadways that are in that area, do they have to be moved or?
Think
No.
about Chicago.
No. I mean, another thing that we would have to look into, public roadways have different heights above them, depending if it's a state highway or a local road, or railroads, for example, have different heights that we put above them to basically what we call Part 77 obstructions. That would all be looked at in your inner approach. But for right now, the inner approach sheets show that these roads are not considered to be obstructions. So I would say that they do not need to be moved or anything, but there should be an easement placed over them that restricts the building or what type of operation is going through there.
Okay.
So another way to think of it is if any of you have ever flown into Chicago Midway, surrounded by bars and hotels and everything else. I mean, literally,
Or
you cross the street.
Burbank is the one.
Burbank's
gas
another
station
one.
At the end.
Right, so, Patrick, if you could share briefly, what it looks like to fund that master plan. We have village manager here and the mayor, and I think everybody else would be curious of how that is funded.
That can be funded through capital improvement program under entitlement funds. So non-primary entitlement is what you guys receive, $150,000 a year. And then any additional funds outside of that, those non-primary entitlements can actually get stacked up for up to 4 years for a total of $600,000. And that's what Mike and his team are watching when they do the capital improvement planning with the FAA. I think last meeting we were discussing how that meeting had taken place. You usually are looking out on your capital improvement plan, 5 years planning. That's usually what we call short-term planning. And basically, you would look at that, and if you want a master plan, you could put that on your CIP. They would look at funding it. If there's additional funding that's needed outside of non-primary entitlement, you can look at some discretionary funding as well. I haven't looked at the actual details of that CIP right now. That's something Mike can probably tell you a lot more on for future projects. But it is eligible for non-primary entitlement AIP funding.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike, covered that last time.
And I might suggest, Patrick mentioned that you can bank your money, if you will, your entitlements, and that's what are looking to do for the taxiway reconstruction as your priority project. However, I think State Aviation may be interested in helping fund a master plan effort with you all once the village becomes a sponsor. So that's just something to keep in your notes, that the state might be willing to help out on that. And not saying FAA wouldn't, but FAA is going to take your entitlement money first for something like that, and it just we're trying to get the taxiway rebuilt. So
Good point. Yep.
And I
Yeah,
told
these
all-
documents are very much looked at by the FAA and the DOT. It's kind of cool. That's the one thing about a master plan that really gets me excited, right? Is you get to work with the town, the county, the state, the feds, and the locals, right? It's the only time that you actually see everyone working that closely together for a common goal, and that's why master plans are so great. So the state, although doesn't officially approve it, they're very much a part of the process, and they have a vested interest as part of the state system plan. So it's that they will definitely be involved in the financing of that, even if it is federal. But yeah, it's their neat opportunity to get people excited and really showcase the future of the airport.
I would, I think I've told most of you that I do visit Taos quite often as Civil Air Patrol, and I have seen their master plan. It's a book about, a couple inches thick, and it's just full of these kinds of drawings. And so you've got that plan where anybody can just sit and look and see what is going to happen in Taos. One thing that surprised me was they've got a huge cargo handling area they're planning to put in over there someday. So that's the kind of thing you have in that, and they're not cheap, like you said, and it's a lot of work. So be nice to have one for us once we get started. I can bring that if anybody wants to. I think they'll loan it to me for a while. If anybody wants to look at it, let me know. Okay. So that covers most of the airport status, engineering, hangars, grants. And, that was the other thing I was gonna add is I think the House has taken really a lot of advantage of the state's money and doing exactly what Patrick said. So that's another source of place to look to see what's been happening with them. And they are getting a brand new terminal building, just to say that the money's out there. Okay, any other questions about airport? Or Jeff, I was curious from my viewpoint, when Scott was here for a while, he was sending out some monthly statuses of how many airplanes came in and out and how much fuel was sold and all that. Is he continuing that, or
Yeah, Chris still does that report. He probably didn't get who to forward
Who
it
to
to.
forward
I
it
know the financial folks here at the village get that and the county gets it. But there's certainly whomever, Manager Weir, I don't know.
Yeah, you should, all these guys should get it.
Yeah, okay, cool. We'll see to it that everybody gets put back on it then. Yeah, I
Okay.
apologize for that. Yeah, that torch got passed, so Chris is doing a good job.
Did the truck get fixed?
Excellent question. The truck is in the process of getting fixed. So, it did get picked up a week ago and, I just didn't have time this morning to give him a call to ask what the status, but. You know, sourcing a 1995 GMC flywheel. It might have took a little time to get there, but I'll give an update this evening at the, general, council meeting on that, so we'll know. You know, I'll have talked to him by then. But yeah, it is under, can I tell you what the guy did, Mr. Mayor? Brett knows this, but, that kid literally, I have to say, they're all kids now. Literally pulled the starter off the truck. Okay, the teeth were ground out, at the end of it. So the only way that he could get that truck started is literally to take the starter in his hands and shove it up against the flywheel while his wife engaged it. And if any of you have ever held onto a or a starter before, just the torque of that thing, let alone shoving it into a V8 engine, and he got it running. And so thank you, VHEL's engineering firm down there, Ironworks. And yeah, Chris Reed was able to pump there's 2,700 gallons of fuel in that tank.
So it's not just the starter, but they're gonna replace the flywheel.
They have flywheel, and the reason why the starter went bad is because there was one tooth missing out of the flywheel and it was catching every time it went around and hammering on the starter, so. Yeah, but that's $180,000 investment for a new fuel truck, so. You know, we can fix it and get another 10 years out of it. It's worth it, so, that's the stand. I have to tell that story, cause I love to, sometimes people go way over, but.
And the fuel sales have been up?
Except for Jet A, unfortunately, we've had the problem of, some folks decided they didn't wanna, single point at the tank, at the pump, so. That has hit a significant loss during our busiest, month of the year, unfortunately, in Jet A. 100 low lead is up, sales is up on that, so.
To that point, I mean, I understand the $180,000 for a new fuel truck, but being in 1995, should we start looking into, I mean, if we're experiencing this problem, it's only gonna continue to have these smaller issues.
Yes, sir.
And harder sourcing.
Yes, sir. Manager Weir and I actually talked this last week or two in regards to going out and starting to look for those grants. We were kind of had a pause. I had a pause on it just because of the relationship of everything still has to route through the county.
Yeah.
But with a new county manager coming on board in a couple of weeks and the will to make this happen, Manager Weir directed me, hey, let's start doing that. So I've already talked to our consultant. Yeah, again, because it could take 2 years to get one.
Yeah.
But yes, sir, we're gonna go out and start, see if we can find those funds. For more than just that too, yeah.
Who's the new county manager?
And I have not met her yet. From what I understand, and I apologize if anybody recalls her name. She was a former finance director for the county. She was the former manager for Trinidad, I believe. And so she's very familiar with the folks within the county, very positive. And she will be here sometime. We haven't got a firm date of when her and Citra EO are visiting. And they're coming down.
So will we have to replace Cy with her in regards to?
Yes, and that's part of that discussion, why they're coming here to meet, is how that's all gonna look. Yep. But yes, sir.
Jeff, her name is Cheryl Navarrete.
Cheryl Navarrete, thank you.
Yep.
Cheryl Navarrete. So we're excited for this. I know Cy is.
Yeah. I'm very sorry.
Oh,
Jackie, you had some questions
Yes,
you wanted to ask?
yes. And I realize that some of this may sound kind of superficial and not tremendously important. But I think the things that happen at Saturday morning coffee are from a different point of view. And for as great as having that poster in the window has been with questions, very bluntly, what's gonna make this airport move is not advanced air. While it's been a wonderful addition to the community, it's not gonna make this airport money. The thing that's gonna make this airport money is general aviation traffic. And I have never seen a summer with the ramp as empty as it is, particularly on the weekends. And so it's one of those things where pilot amenities are important. And right now we have potato chips and potato chips and potato chips and crappy coffee. So it's one of those things where when something was working and now it's not working, makes no sense to me. And having Chris and Joel and Scott add something as simplistic as making sure that coffee bar is taken care of to the duties that they already have is absolutely ludicrous. And I don't know how many of you have flown into an FBO lately, but Durango had pilot goodie bags. Telluride had phenomenal snacks. And it's one of those things where you may laugh, but as a general aviation pilot, I have flown places and gotten fuel because they had good snacks. So put that, I don't know who is doing it, but please put it on your list. And maybe with something as simple as taking care of business with that, we can get people to stop going to Santa Fe and to Raton and to Taos because of those things. And also one of the things, and Chris and I have talked about this, are uniforms for airport employees. And now that we have 3 full-time and 1 part-time, I didn't ever see it from an employee standpoint, but when one of them said, you know, I'm tired of ruining my clothes. So I don't know how close the uniform thing is. I know you've had requests in for a while, but being able to present that to the flying public is important. So, you know, those are the little things that happen during Saturday morning coffee. And listening to friends that I've got back in the DFW area who don't fly into Angel Fire anymore. They fly into Santa Fe, which makes me crazy. But also,
So, Jackie, could you expand on that? I mean, you think they're flying to Santa Fe because of the snacks and like a uniform?
they're flying into Santa Fe because of the customer service.
Wouldn't you say that ours is better than it's been in years?
Now say again?
Wouldn't you say that what we're doing now, well, it's not perfect by any stretch, is 10 times better than it's been in years?
No,
Okay.
I wouldn't.
I appreciate your,
and I realize it sounds
it
superficial.
sounds extremely superficial.
It
I
does.
agree with you on the uniforms, and I understand the snacks are a sore subject with you.
Well, yeah,
But
they are
I would
because
like
it
to have,
works.
it. So we're gonna continue to improve. But I just
Absolutely.
think the statement that people are flying into Santa Fe versus Angel Fire because of the lack of snacks, I think there's,
No, it's a total picture for an FBO. And if you're not familiar with general aviation FBOs, it does sound superficial. I mean, we all make jokes about the $100 hamburger. But it's a fact of life with flying a general aviation airport and when you want to go play on the weekends. And the traffic is down. I would love to see the figures. Maybe we're wrong about just being able to see what's on the ramp on Saturdays. But it just feels much less busy than it used to. So I understand, but as a general aviation pilot, I think sometimes that's been overlooked with the newness. And Scott has a background knowledge, even though he doesn't fly. And I hate to say it, but one of the problems is you've got great employees who don't know anything about aviation. Nobody flies. And it does make a difference. So, you know, we are up on Facebook traffic, which is great. We have more followers and more views and more likes than we've had in a long time, which says a lot. And a lot of it comes from the community, which is great. And Chris answers questions on Facebook, which is terrific. Which also brings me to something that I would like to do. There are questions about who is in charge. And now that we have 3 full-time and 1 part-time employees, I don't know about job descriptions, but I would love to post a picture on our Facebook page about the employees and listing a job description. I know during the time when we had the accident in Cimarron Canyon, people didn't know exactly where to go to get the answers. And my comment was call the airport. But nobody knew who it was they were going to get. And so if there could be some sort of explanation with a job description, I think it would go a long way to answering those questions.
Can we get those from HR? Job descriptions?
I don't know.
I mean,
Chris and I have talked about it, and I know he had an appointment, and I'm not sure whether it was HR or not, to be able to clarify what his title was. So I don't know. Jeff, could you provide those?
When did you have that discussion with Chris?
A week ago, maybe?
Yeah, Chris is very well aware of his job title. It's codified. I think the option that I understand, if you have we explained several months ago when we met at the airport, what titles were and what
Right.
descriptions were. If you need further than that, then we'll explore with the HR director how you can get that information.
Okay, because I never got a specific response from you on that.
Yeah,
about
very
who
carefully.
is a name and what their title is, and name, what their title is,
Yeah, we get
and
that.
job
to you.
description.
thought-
I don't have that in email at all.
Well, I'm sorry, we did discuss that on that Saturday morning very clearly, and you wrote it down. So I'll leave it at that. But
Well,
if we
at
need-
that time, you didn't have 3 full-time and 1 part-time.
The only addition was Mr. Scott coming in to fill in the later hours in the evening.
If you could resend that email, that would be great. I would appreciate that. And I realize this sounds superficial. It does. I am the first to say this sounds like it's superficial. But I get a lot of questions, whether you like it or not. I've been here a long time. People know I have been associated with the airport. And they know how to get in contact with me. And I apologize if that irritates anybody, but it is what it is. And being able to post on Facebook and be an administrator for the page has made a lot of difference in numbers and being able to help dispel some of those myths before they become rumors and are rampant. And so I want to make sure things are taken care of, and it's easy to do. So
I will confess that when I was flying before social media was invented, I was always shocked at how quick the rumors got around where you got freebies.
absolutely,
And Pueblo was always one that was high on the list because they gave out steaks.
yeah.
Or they got the steaks, I don't know. And then, I mean, I even got a ball cap when I went to Tucumcari, but that was neat. I didn't get anything else from other places. So sometimes it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So it does work, believe it or not. However superficial it
How's the
sounds.
car lending going? The use of a card,
Now say again,
how is the card lending business going?
I don't know.
Or is there one?
Are you talking about?
Well, the courtesy card.
Courtesy card.
Courtesy card, yes.
Oh, okay, yeah, no,
Excuse me.
that's used weekly. We have 2 of them out
And
there.
And is it very easy to get into?
Oh, absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Just wondering.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
In
So
fact, the guys
does it-
make, when people call in and we know that they need
Yeah.
the car after hours, they make arrangements of how to get the keys and.
Yeah,
Contract, yeah.
when I travel with Michael,
A lot.
that's one of the big things going in and bing, bing, bing. you get a couple-
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
If we
pretty much
could-
that easy.
If the information would be readily available and I could post that on our Facebook page, I think that would go a long way to hours. I don't know if these are posted anywhere else, but hours and the courtesy car and that sort of thing, I think would go a long way. And when I was back in Fort Worth with coffee with a bunch of the local pilots, dispelling those myths is important because it's out there. And saying that we're in transition between the village, and I have made no bones about the fact that I think that's the best thing in the world that could happen to this airport is being governed by the village. And so those things are out there. But, you know, it's, I, like I said, I know it sounds superficial, but it's general aviation, like it or not. So I appreciate your time, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, down to item C, the airport and aviation affair from back in June. We have a debrief coming up Thursday with the manager. And I was wondering, has anybody got any suggestions that I need to take to that meeting about what happened during that time? You're invited as well, I'm sure. One, Have any additions? Okay, well, we'll get a report back as to what, we're gonna be discussing there, after, the next meeting. So, there's nothing else to add to item C. Item D is the goal that's on this sign, right behind me, which I was mainly wanting to see if the individual that put this together changed any of them that I wasn't, aware of. So, as was previously reported, adding airline service to Dallas, Phoenix, and Denver, got the most votes obviously on there. Increasing the number of hangars looks like about number 2. And transfer of the ownership is up there at the top. So pretty obvious how that came out, and I want to just read, if they changed anything that I had given them in the first place. Looks like,
Do we know anything about the continuation of the grant with Advanced Air?
We have another year,
Oh,
we have
okay,
to apply next year
okay,
to go to a third year.
Yeah, it was a 2-year.
thank you.
Yeah, and Jackie, we're actually working with the senator's office and states to already, I hate to say grease the wheels for that next level of grant. There was a call, and I don't know how it got fleshed out 2 weeks ago from Advanced Air, where they were looking themselves to expand service. And there were some things going on there because they were happy with the success.
it's good to hear.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I had Chris follow up with Advance, and I haven't got a report back yet what that meant. Didn't know if that meant we'll fly later this month or we're actually gonna get another city. They're aware of this.
Good. Okay, item E, committee membership was discussed last week. Did you have anything to report about, Mr. Manley?
He actually just emailed us, and he's, I can tell you what it. So he's still wanting to be involved. And had hoped to be here. I don't know if you know, but, Dan Rakes, the senior counsel for the resort, is still in the hospital, not doing well. So those duties are falling squarely on Mr. Manley right now. But he just emailed that he was apologizing for scrambling to meet a court deadline and submitting exhibits. He will not be able to attend. But he intended to, but I know he's literally buried in paperwork right now. I say literally.
That's what I figured he was.
He's struggling right now.
Okay, I figured that was the case. We'll keep that observation. Anything, Gene? Anything else, Mayor?
No, sir.
Alvin?
Yeah, Mr. Burt first, you got anything?
Bert? Oh, nothing.
Okay, so I just had one of the guys send me this to us, so as a comparison, total turbine traffic for 2023 was 172 log flights. And for total for that year was 447 aircraft. In 24, it was 148 turbine, 421 for the total. For 25 right now, where our total is at 305 and our turbine at 145. So that was of July, so that doesn't include anything started. That was the end of the month. So currently, we're equal to the total amount of turbine traffic for the last 2 years, and we still have the rest of the year to go. So overall, traffic is better than it's been since 22. So that's the data. Just so you know,
That was through July or through June?
through July. So we close it out every month. One of the other data points that We see an upkick in military too. One of the data points that I'm having the guys do now is military traffic. That's just for funding down the roads. We've added that to a list and that's recorded daily. It's recorded as it happens.
So the turbine traffic would include the advanced airline.
Yes, so
Do they
that,
buy any fuel?
they do not buy fuel, but they do pay us for landing fees. So we get a monthly, bit from them and, so, overall, I think things are doing quite well, considering where we're at right now. With the field truck, I think we would see it had more uptick in the turbine side. And the one thing about the military, and civilian traffic that we don't count, is one of the reasons why we're getting cameras in too, so as part of that can be documented with, for the FAA, for air traffic. So we keep our numbers up. We also, one of the other items in here, we actually have a full hangar for the first time in several years. Every spot is bought, paid for. So, there's also now a tiny revenue stream on cars being parked permanently out there. So, sorry, it's a source of amusement to me that people found a free place to park their cars. So anyhow, there you go.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Manager. Nothing. So if that is all, that concludes the meeting. Anyone online, Patrick or Mike? Okay, that concludes the meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great afternoon.
Yeah, next meeting's. No, 9 September is the only other.